Luxury watches had a huge hype around the pandemic time, and since then a lot more people have started showing interest in watches and are seeing it more as an investment asset, which it can be, but is it the right investment asset for you? So let's be honest, I don't think we need those luxury watches with their elaborate engineering to just tell the time, because most people just check the time on their phone or their smartwatch or anything. You don't really need like some $2 million watch just to see the time. I don't think you ever needed a watch that expensive just to tell the time. But watches have a lot of other uses. Of course, people who are really into watches might get them because they just appreciate the history of the brand or might appreciate the engineering that's gone into it. And of course, they are usually made of high quality materials, including gold, platinum, titanium, whatever it may be. Apart from that, they are a status symbol, they are a conversation starter. Some people say it helps them in social situations such as business meetings or closing deals with clients. A good watch could make you stand out or make you seem more trustworthy or more successful. So back to my question, who should buy a watch? Should you buy a luxury watch? Now, if you can easily afford it, you're not looking at it in the investment way, you're just looking at it as a nice thing that looks nice and you can afford it and everything, why not? Go for it. But what about as an investment? If you don't actually have any interest in watches as such and you can't easily afford it, maybe, should you buy it as an investment? So first of all, nothing in this video is financial advice and it's for entertainment purposes only, and everything in this video is just my opinion and my point of view and what I've learned from research, talking to people, everything. If your portfolio is smaller than like even an entry-level Rolex, for example, like if your portfolio is less than like $5,000 or something like that, then I don't think you should even be thinking about watches. Like, how are you're gonna go into debt or something, you're gonna take a loan, you're gonna buy it on installments, I don't know. Like, I don't think it's a good idea. So if you have a small portfolio on the bigger side, like let's say you have $20,000, something like that, of capital to invest, first of all, what kind of watch would that get you? For $25,000 you could get a GMT Master, a Submariner. You could even probably get like a cheaper Daytona potentially, and these prices I'm talking about are resale, because retail is a bit tricky. So if you have a portfolio less than $25,000, should you invest in a watch? What you have to ask yourself is that, would you be comfortable putting like 60 to 80 to 90 maybe % of your portfolio into one asset, which is a watch? It's unlikely that the value of this watch will like go to zero. So it's not like you're buying some crypto meme coin or meme stock that could just collapse and go to zero. Like, it's unlikely that a Rolex GMT2 Master is gonna become worth like nothing tomorrow. It'll always be worth like, you know, at least around the retail price or something like that. Even if the market for Rolex just disappeared, it's still a good mechanical watch. You could still get a couple $1,000s, like in a worst case scenario. I think there is also the risk of losing it. So unless you're going to be keeping it in like a deposit box or safety deposit box or whatever at a bank and have insurance and do all this, which I don't even think is worth it on a watch of that level. Like, putting it in a safety deposit box and taking insurance and doing all this would be probably worth it if it's like in the millions or something like really special. I don't think you would do that on just like some average Rolex. So the pros are that the price will not likely go to zero. You have a nice piece of jewelry that you can wear and it could potentially help you earn more money if you think it will help you close deals or get a better job or network or something like that. It could benefit you in that way, and in terms of just looking nice, or if you just like the watch and you just have a nice time wearing it, that's fine as well. Cons are that it's less liquid than like stocks in a stock market. Selling shares or something is much more instant and quick. Another issue is that if you don't know much about watches, you could end up buying a fake watch. You could buy a watch that is real but has some damage or an important part like swapped for a fake one. Or you could just get ripped off, you could just get a bad deal. And while certain watches can go up in price pretty quickly and can be pretty profitable, you also have to kind of know what you're doing in order to get the right deal and sell it at the right price. And while some watches get discontinued and are more limited, like Daytona and GMT Master and day dates would be out of your budget anyway, but things like this go up in price more usually compared to like a Datejust or a Air King or something like that. So you could buy like some entry-level Rolex expecting to get the same returns as someone who bought a Daytona in like 2010 or something like that, or whenever, and you might realize that, hey, no one's actually willing to pay this price for it, and you might end up having to sell it for like below what you paid for it, or for a very small difference in price. But generally, I don't think it's a very risky investment. I just don't know if at a small portfolio level you would want to lock up so much of your money in just one asset that could easily just get lost. And I don't think that insurance even covers it if you're like wearing it out and stuff like that. As for people with bigger portfolios, if your portfolio is in the hundreds of thousands or the millions or billions, of course, do whatever you want. If your portfolio is that size, then sure, I mean, you could afford to buy some nice watches, and it could be a very small percentage of your portfolio, and you'll have all the pros, and the cons will not weigh in very heavy on your investment portfolio. But this video is more aimed at small portfolio people who are trying to make a quick buck from buying a Rolex or something like that. What I noticed is that people who made the most amount of money from selling watches or Birkin bags or anything like coveted like this, from what I see, is that it was people who just bought them because they liked the thing, like maybe back in 2010, 2008, maybe in the 90s, they just saw a watch, they liked it, they bought it, and it just happened to blow up, and they thought, you know what, I think I'd rather have the amount of money I can get rather than keep this watch or bag or whatever it is. So if you just like a watch, I think go for it. But if you are just buying it as an investment tool and you have a small portfolio, I don't know, it could be hit or miss, but so could stocks. And having like a big chunk of your portfolio in one asset means that the liquidation of the value in this asset is going to be difficult to like take out. Like if you have a stock portfolio with $20,000, you could sell off a few shares, take out a few hundred, a few thousand if you needed them. A watch, you'd have to just sell the whole thing, then you have a bunch of cash, while in a stock portfolio, the rest of your portfolio would still be compounding. Even if you took out like a little bit, the rest of it will still continue growing. While if you sell the watch, you might sell it for a gain or a loss, but then now you have to start your investment again by putting it in another watch or in another stock or something like that. If you're young and you just like watches, you just like wearing them, stuff like that, you know, go for it. If you're not really into watches and you just want to buy something just for investment, unless you find something and, for example, you have a friend who really knows about watches and he tells you like this price is crazy, I mean, he would probably buy it himself. Maybe in that case you could consider it, but at the end of the day it's your decision. I just tried to make this video to show you like the pros and cons, and then it's up to you to decide. So don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends. Let me know in the comments if you liked or disliked anything about this video, if you have any comments, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.